Athena was the classical goddess of wisdom. Her Roman form was Minerva. She was immensely more popular in her Greek incarnation. The Greeks associated her with all sorts of tasks associated with the mind, various forms of art and architecture, strategic warfare. The Romans minimized her role somewhat. She was still a patron of many intellectual art forms and scholars, but her role in warfare was generally given to Mars, the Roman god of war, whom the Romans had much more respect for than the Greeks did for their god of war, Ares, in general. Now, Athena is the daughter of Zeus and his first wife, Metis, the goddess of prudence, who assisted Zeus in overthrowing the god's predecessors, the Titans. Now, the story of Athena's birth is unique, shall we say. Zeus once received a prophecy from the oracle that should Metis give birth to his child, this child would prove to be powerful enough to overthrow him. So Zeus decided to play a game with Metis, where she transformed into different animals, and when he tricked her into transforming into a fly, he swallowed her. A rather simplistic trap to lure a goddess of prudence into, but there you have it. However, as a goddess, Metis survived inside of Zeus's body, and she began forging armor for their soon-to-be child as she was already pregnant. And this caused Zeus excruciating headaches, and one day he had one so painful that he sent his son Hephaestus, the god of the forge, to fetch an axe to split open his head. So Hephaestus did so, and from the gap leapt Athena, fully grown in full battle armor. Now, Athena was known as a very just goddess, a goddess of order and knowledge and peace, and was often used to contrast her half-brother Ares, their god of war. And that's somewhat an interesting story of how political differences contribute to biased interpretations of mythology. See, Athena was the patron deity of Athens, something that we'll elaborate a bit more on soon. Ares was generally considered to be the patron of the Spartans, a much more warlike civilization, while the Athenians, while their military force was impressive, they were more focused on academic pursuits. They preferred to be more knowledgeable and scholarly, and they often reviled the Spartans' more violent culture, and as such often painted their god Ares, whom the Spartans portrayed as a brilliant tactician and one who was ruthless but not needlessly so. They painted him as a brutal monstrosity, a paragon of savagery, while simultaneously romanticizing Athena as the epitome of mental enlightenment, and generally blatantly preferring her over all of the other deities, save for their most powerful, such as Zeus. Now, Athena, as we've said, is the patron goddess of Athens, and the city's opinion of her and her lore, it's so intertwined that there is still debate over whether the city was named after her or whether she was simply created for the sole purpose of representing Athens in their mythology. So her original Greek name, Athena, is nearly identical to the Greek name for Athens, Athena. The only real difference is pronunciation. So that is still a question that has yet to be fully resolved. However, there is actually a myth as to how she supposedly became the representative of Athens in the divine realm. And this apparently she competed with her uncle, Poseidon, the god of the seas, for this title. And they were both to give a gift to the citizens of Athens, and whichever one could provide best for the people would decide who won the competition. So Poseidon, he struck the ground with his trident and created a spring. However, as he was the god of the seas, this water, it was seawater, so it was not particularly useful, beyond aesthetics, perhaps, for the people of Athens. Athena, however, waved her hand and created an olive tree. And so, an olive tree creating wood for burning and warmth, as well as a source of food. This was an infinitely more practical gift to the people of Athens, and supposedly this resulted in Athena being chosen its patron goddess. Now, while Athena was generally just, often a goddess of order and justice, she was sometimes a victim of a particularly rigid pride. Now, pride, hubris, this is a concept that is quite recurring in Greek mythology. Hubris was considered a cardinal sin. However, many of the gods fell victim to this particular defect. And Athena, while not arrogant or a vain being, slights to her intellect or competence were still quite offensive to her. The best example of this would probably be the tale of Arachne. You see, Arachne, in the Greek mythology, was a poor farm girl who, however, did have a prodigal skill at weaving. Now, as a goddess of art, Athena saw this and decided to take Arachne under her wing and teach her how to become even better at this trade and become the best among mortals. And Arachne did. She became known throughout the known world and gained much fame for her ability. However, this began to take its toll on her personality and attitude, and she became incredibly arrogant and believed that she had surpassed Athena herself. Now, Athena, hearing of this, initially tempered her pride, and she approached Arachne as an old woman and advised her that perhaps it would not be the most pragmatic decision to challenge a goddess in this manner. However, Arachne simply dismissed her and said that if Athena was so hurt by this declaration, then she could face her herself. So, becoming incensed by this, Athena cast off her disguise and challenged Arachne to a contest in weaving. And so Athena created a tapestry depicting the gods in all of their glory, the Olympians. Arachne made a tapestry that was considered to be just as beautiful, but was mocking Zeus and his promiscuous nature, showing a rather cartoonish portrait of Zeus and his many wives. So when Athena saw this, her rage reached the boiling point, and she destroyed the tapestry. And exactly how it proceeds from there it somewhat varies, but it has the same ultimate conclusion. Some say that Athena killed Arachne out of rage, and then being filled with remorse at her crime, she brought Arachne back to life by turning her into the first spider. Other tales say that Athena simply transformed her into a spider immediately without taking a lethal course of action. However, in either case, this was the origin for the term arachnid. So this also cements a central facet of Greek mythology and ancient Greek culture, and how the Greeks believed that no matter how offensive certain offenses may, certain traits may be, such as pride, they believe that the gods would always display these. They would show little to no regard, whether purposefully or not, for this form of morality, and as a people that were not cognizant fully of their surroundings, it shows exactly how they saw nature. Completely unforgiving, willing to take whatever it wanted, at any price, hypocrisy, slander, anything. And even the nobler aspects had the same uncompromising flaws that would inevitably get the better of them. But overall, Athena is, without a doubt, one of the more positive parts of Greek mythology, one of the nobler gods, even if you eliminate the Athenians' bias towards her character. But that will be all for this video, and I promise I'll give you a break from the Grecophilia for this one. But if you have an idea for another being, story, concept, feel free to write about it in the comments. Goodbye.